Three, two, one. Hello and welcome to the Conspiracy Detective Agency once again.
What are we on now? 6? Is this 5 or 6?
This is six. We were
Okay.
just talking about how it feels like we've done way more than six
It really
or
does.
five.
Have we done like an extra one that we just haven't put out or something?
Maybe I'll check the backlog.
Okay.
But
So what
yeah,
are we on today?
well, I forgot to give you a little hint at the end of last episode.
You did. Last episode was the Beatles thing.
It was the Beatles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's we're going far away from that.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
What's
have
far away from the Beatles?
um,
What's the furthest
with the
music? Billie
furthest.
Eilish?
We're talking about Billie Eilish.
Yeah.
So, have you ever heard of a man by the name of D.B. Cooper?
I have not.
Good, good. So, this is a famous hijacking story,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and it's just very absurd, and we're going to figure out what happened.
Okay.
Uh, I'll start with saying that this person went by the alias of Dan Cooper, but the newspapers messed it up and called him D.B. Cooper, which
How?
because there was a suspect who was just some guy called DB Cooper, and this poor suspect ended up like
Right.
getting his name out there. And
Brilliant.
so yeah. Anyway, this story takes place in Portland, Oregon, so America.
Mm-hmm.
On the afternoon of November 24th, 1971, which is the day before Thanksgiving,
Ooh.
yeah, a man entered a Northwest Orient airline. A man entered Northwest Orient Airlines in Portland. So 1971, we've been saying that most of our stories are from the 60s, and like,
Yeah.
there's a time to
It's
be alive.
yeah, right. Apparently everything goes down then.
Anyway, so yeah, a man entered Northwest Orient Airlines in Portland
Mm-hmm.
and purchased a one-way ticket to Seattle, Washington. This man appeared to be in his mid-40s, wearing a business suit with a black tie, white shirt, and a briefcase.
Okay.
He went by the name of Dan Cooper. And remember, this is like pre 9/11, so security at airports is like non-existent.
Okay.
They
Okay.
just let anyone on.
Brilliant.
Yeah. He was described as a slim white male with brown eyes and dark hair. So Dan boarded flight 305, which had
Mhm.
36 other passengers on board and a crew of 6.
I'm excited because this is gonna be a plane hijack, I assume.
It's the start of Dark Knight Rises. He sat in the last row of the seats by the cabin. He ordered a drink, a bourbon, and had a smoke. Once the flight was off, Dan handed the stewardess, who was called Florence Schaffner, a note saying that he had a bomb in his briefcase and wanted her to sit with him. So poor Florence.
Yeah, she okay, so she goes and sits with him, I assume.
So Florence did as she was told and opened the briefcase. Uh, Dan Cooper showed her a mess of wires and dynamite, or at least what she assumed was dynamite.
Oh
It could
god.
have been fake for all we know.
Sure.
His demands. He made his demands to the stewardess. He wanted $200,000 in cash by 5 p.m., which at the time that's a lot of money.
Does he expect Florence to have this money on her or
So when they land, he
Oh,
expects
okay.
people to give him the money.
So he wants her to go and like tell the pilot or something to
Yeah,
radio down. Okay.
yeah. And the money should be put in a knapsack. He also wanted two back parachutes and two front parachutes. Which there's ones that you can strap on your stomach and ones you can strap on your back.
So is one for like safety?
Um,
As in like if you have one on your back and one on your front, what what does that do for you?
one's one's like traditional skydiving, you have them on your back.
Yeah.
I think it's for the military. They have them on their front. I'm not sure what reason it is. Like
Hmm.
you don't fall on like with your back facing the ground. You still are like upright.
Oh, okay.
But
Oh,
yeah,
you're just like falling sideways, like
yeah.
downwards. Yeah.
So when the plane lands, he wanted a fuel truck ready to refuel the plane as well. Dan threatened that if there's any funny stuff, he'll do the job, he said. So a really unthreatening way of
Yeah, I'll do it.
saying he'll blow up the plane.
Right.
Florence went to tell the flight cockpit crew, and another stewardess called Tina Mucklow sat by Cooper's side, which I just feel bad for these stewardesses, really.
Did he make her do that as well?
Yeah, yeah.
Nah, that's a real shame. Why is he playing this like weird stewardess game that everyone's gonna find out anyway? And he's
I
just like
mean,
secretly just telling all the stewardesses. And then
he,
do they all congregate in the corridor like, oh my god, did the guy come up to you yet?
yeah, right.
And they're all just
I,
like, God, yeah, he's got a bomb. We should probably tell someone.
I mean, he's trying not to make a scene, so all the passengers have no clue what's going on.
Wouldn't it be easier to make a scene?
I mean,
Because
this is
if
a
you
posh
make a
guy in a
scene,
suit. He does things,
yeah,
you
but
know.
like on his behalf, like
Mm.
if I'm in his shoes, it's like I want all of them as hostages, the whole plane as a hostage situation.
I mean,
I
they
get
think
what you
they
want.
are. Well, he thinks they are because like they just don't know that he's got them hostage.
Yeah, but is that worse? I don't know. I
You
don't know.
know, you could have people fighting back. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah, suppose.
Anyway, so Florence told the cockpit crew, and Tina Mucklow sat by him.
Hmm.
For over an hour, the flight circled in the air as preparations on the ground were made. So the ground authorities were given into his ransom,
Hmm.
which nowadays I don't think that would ever happen.
Not straight away.
I mean, I'm pretty sure nowadays they have a if a flight is ever hijacked, they just shoot it down, like
Oh,
forgetting about the
really?
fact. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what they have to do now.
Oh, what, because of 9/11 and stuff?
Yeah, like the damage it
Jeez.
could cause.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you just have to blow it up.
So basically, if you're on a plane and someone's got a bomb or whatever, then you're done. Like,
You
there's
might
just
as well
no.
fight them because you're gonna die anyway. So
Yeah,
take your chances.
Jesus. That's
Yes,
scary.
that's fun.
Was this before like air marshals and stuff were a thing as well?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
I'll assume it is.
Yeah. So 10,000 $20 bills were collected from a local bank, and a local skydiving school supplied the parachutes. So finally, the plane landed in Seattle, and the plane was taken to a remote section of the airport. Um, so it's nice that you actually let the plane get to the destination. The passengers
Yeah,
like were none the wiser.
yeah, they all just get off and crack on in
Yeah.
Seattle.
Uh,
Go see is it the Space Needle in Seattle?
yeah, it is.
No? Go see the Space Needle.
Because I just saw it in Last of Us.
Oh yeah, of course.
Tina left the plane and collected the money and the parachutes, which she then gave to Dan. He let all the passengers and two crew members off the plane, so four are left on board with him.
Okay.
Just gonna have a drink.
That's alright, you do that. Quench your thirst.
So Cooper informed the captain that he wanted to fly to Mexico City, and the plane must have its landing gear down and be below 10,000 feet the whole time. The back stairway of the plane was also to remain extended. So that's sort of like the steps that people come on and off the plane
Also during the flight.
during the flight.
Bloody hell, alright.
He was told that the journey was too long and that they'd have to refuel at Nevada, and it's not possible to take off with all the stairs down.
Yeah.
So he demanded to be shown how to lower them mid flight.
He's there like asking them to teach him. He's got his like little safety jacket on as they're like showing him how to do it on the
So this
runway.
button does this.
He's just got the briefcase in one hand and a screwdriver in the other.
So Flight 305 was eventually on its way again. But only 5 minutes into the journey, he told the stewardess to stay in the cockpit and not disturb him. The last thing she saw of Cooper was him standing in the middle of the aisle as he is preparing to jump.
Brilliant.
3 hours later, the plane landed in Nevada, but when the crew came out to check on Dan Cooper, he was gone. The back stairway was open and slightly damaged. It was clear at some point during the flight Dan had put on the parachute and leapt from the plane.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's a pretty exciting heist at the moment.
Is it? I mean, he jumped out. I'm thinking, did he just want a free ride? You know?
As well. I mean, successfully got $200,000, got on the plane, and jumped out. Where like
Yeah.
no one knew where he jumped.
Okay.
So in Nevada, FBI agents searched the aircraft, and all they found was a black clip tie, cigarettes, and two of the four parachutes.
Yeah.
So the
Why four?
I he was probably just being very cautious. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I thought maybe he'd bring one of the like stewardesses with him.
That'd be great. Well, it wouldn't. It'd be terrible for her, but
Well, I don't know. He could be like, "Do you want to go on holiday?" She'd be like, "Yeah, all right, I'm down."
yeah.
He's got a bunch of money.
So the only way to search for Dan Cooper was to know when he had jumped off the plane. So no one on the plane had seen him jump, although at 8:05 p.m., the
Hmm.
crew spoke to Cooper over the intercom, and not 10 minutes later, they felt a vibration on the plane. So it's assumed that when he jumped, it's assumed that he jumped within that 10-minute
Right.
like span. Using that estimated time, they figured out where the plane was at that moment. So it was
Okay.
determined he jumped 40 kilometers north of Portland in an area of mountains and forest. So this
Right.
was pitch black dead of night. He jumped into a forest.
What an idiot. Unless he's got some like magnificent
Backup
plan.
plan.
Yeah.
So that morning, a huge search of this area was conducted. And being such a difficult terrain and bad weather, days of searching ended with no evidence. And as all the money was given to Cooper from the same bank, they were able to track if any dollars have been spent with the same like serial number.
Hmm.
But nothing ever came up.
Okay.
There have been many suspects on the case, which we'll get to at the end. However, for the story, this is where things like sort of die down.
Okay.
So Dan, he either died parachuting or he got away. So that's what they're at the moment, the FBI.
Okay. Yeah, they're either like he's out there or he's dead. We just haven't found his body.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for the arguments that Dan Cooper died from the jump,
Yeah.
one of them is that he was poorly dressed, so he's just wearing his business suit.
Mm.
Um, two is that it was nighttime over a giant forest in like mountains,
Yeah.
so you got to be pretty good to land that.
Yeah.
And even then, the plane was above clouds, so the
You couldn't
idea is that
see.
when he jumped, it was a leap of faith,
Oh
basically.
my lord.
And then, even if he did land, he's in the middle of a forest. So,
Yeah,
like,
so what's he gonna do?
what are you gonna do at that point?
Right.
But
Mm.
they searched for like weeks and nothing. They didn't find him.
I don't think he's there then.
Okay,
They would
it's
have
a.
found him surely.
It depends if like an animal ate him.
Yeah, but you'd find evidence of like
The
ripped
money and
clothes or the money, yeah.
so it's
You'd
up
see a
to.
parachute in a tree.
It's two legs dangling from a tree.
Just the legs.
Just the legs, nothing else. It's up for debate whether he was used to parachuting, because he requested a military parachute, which can be steered like any way that you want.
Okay.
So a regular parachute is oh no, sorry, a military parachute can't be steered.
Right.
So you know when you see like old World War II footage of people parachuting out and
Yeah,
they're just
yeah.
sort of floating down, like
Yeah.
you hope you land in the right area. It was one of those. And so people were like, why would you choose that? So it sort of suggests that he was in the military as like a paratrooper
Okay.
or
Or he just
something.
didn't know and he
Or
thought
he didn't
that
know.
it was gonna be better.
He was trying to steer it and it's like, oh god no.
Yeah.
I thought military meant it was stronger or something.
So he couldn't have like unless he skydived away quite far, which I
Mm.
I can't imagine he would have, but it's not like he could have just steered away for a bit and like drifted down somewhere else. He landed pretty much wherever.
He would have had to land in the forest.
Mm.
So now we're going to go ahead to 9 years later
Flippin' heck, alright.
in 1980.
Ooh,
So
swinging 80s.
I know he comes back with like an afro or something.
He's got like jeans on, like really thick jeans.
A young boy was playing on a beach in southern Washington, and as he was digging in the sand, he found three bundles of cash,
Oh my god.
adding up to $5,880.
Why can't when I go to the beach, how can I find money when I dig?
And the notes were reported to the FBI, which I wouldn't. I
Oh,
I'd keep it.
maybe half. Like if it was like
Right.
10 grand, I'd maybe be like, I found 5 grand.
Yeah,
If it was like 1,000, I'd just keep it.
yeah. And the serial number on the money matched up with the money given to Dan Cooper.
Okay.
So this raised more theories, as it was pretty far from the predicted zone.
Where was that again? The place they found it.
Uh, they found it in southern Washington,
Okay.
and he was 40 kilometers north of Portland when he jumped. So if you
Right.
know your American geography,
I
i-
don't.
it's a decent, like, there's no way he landed there anyway.
Okay.
Um, so the cache could have fell in a river and float just miles down to the shore to get washed up.
Sure.
Or it could have been where the cache landed as Cooper jumped, so maybe he let go of it and it just sort of floated really far.
Oh, he's had a bad one,
But
hasn't he?
yeah. But the fact it was just 3 bundles all, like, neatly next to each other seemed a bit suspicious.
Oh, like he'd planted it.
So, like, if they were to come down the river, you'd think it would all wash up, sort of spread around and that.
Mm,
And
true.
also they had elastic bands holding them together, which was unlikely to withstand being washed down a river and that.
Okay.
And so now we have suspects.
Is the child a
It's the
suspect?
child, yes. So there have been so many suspects over the years that I'm gonna talk about the noteworthy ones.
Okay.
Alright,
Is
so
this like Zodiac levels of people it could have been?
yeah,
Okay.
pretty much. So firstly, there was a man with the initials DB Cooper,
Hmm.
but pretty quickly it was clear it wasn't him. It's just because he had the surname Cooper that he was a suspect.
Sure.
But there was a mix-up in the press, and on newspapers, Dan Cooper was called DB Cooper. So this poor innocent man suddenly had his name everywhere as being a hijacker.
That's so bad. He must have got like compensation, surely.
I doubt it.
Really?
I don't think they'd
It's
care.
slander, isn't
I
it?
know.
Hmm.
Well, imagine going to work and you think you just hijacked a plane.
Yeah, right. And it'd be worse if he worked like at an airline or something.
Yeah.
Or
Oh god, yeah.
like he's like a stockbroker trying to sell like
You're
stocks of the
right.
airlines to people over the phone. So my name's DB Cooper. They're like, oh god, no.
Oh no, no, I swear.
I want to sell. I want to sell.
So the first proper suspect we have is Robert Rackshaw.
Hmm.
He was a military parachuter until he was discharged a few months before the hijacking. He has a criminal record and was often on the run, with a couple times he used planes as his getaway vehicle. He had an uncle called John Cooper,
Hmm.
and apparently he knew how to make bombs,
Brilliant.
which,
Apparently,
apparently,
according to who?
um, actually, I think this is FBI. There's an
Oh,
actual FBI website, like the official website with this case on, because they're basically like, we don't know, let's ask everyone who this guy is.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? I can't remember. Carol.
Okay.
If I remember, I'll ask.
All right. Also, during the interviews, he would never confirm or deny being DB Cooper, or Dan Cooper, I should say.
Hmm.
He would say stuff like, I could have been Dan Cooper. So
Right, because
you
that's
just
not
don't.
fishy, is it?
That's a bit suspicious.
Jesus. What I was going to ask is, do we know why he was discharged?
Um, I think he was a bit nuts. He was, yeah, he did. Um, he like went against a command or something. I'm pretty
Right.
sure.
Okay.
However, he had blue eyes and was only 28 during the hijacking, which doesn't match the description of Cooper being a brown-eyed man in his late 40s.
Hmm.
So, why he would ever say I could have been Dan Cooper to an interview?
I think he's probably just having fun, isn't he? If he's a
Yeah,
bit mental, anyway, he's
I
probably
mean,
just.
yeah, he says he's on the run all the time. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, "Brown-Eyed Man in His 40s" was the unreleased sequel to the hit Van Morrison song "Brown Eyed Girl."
It was a lot more depressing, and
Yeah.
yeah,
It wasn't fun compared to Brown Eyed
it
Girl.
was him after he didn't get the brown-eyed girl.
Yeah, it just didn't catch on. So
Nah. So the next suspect is Richard McCoy. So less than 5 months after the hijacking, McCoy pulled off the same exact crime. He hijacked a United Airlines flight 855 and was going to New Jersey,
okay.
or from New Jersey to Los Angeles. So McCoy was armed with a pistol and a grenade and demanded $5,000 and 4 parachutes. So they,
Oh,
they like their
4.
four, yeah,
Okay.
which he was given in exchange for releasing passengers. When the plane took off again, he jumped out over Utah and successfully landed. However, 2 days later, McCoy was arrested at his own home and sentenced to 45 years in prison.
I'll let you go
So
on.
he went home like immediately.
And he's just sat there having his TV dinner with his cash, like, next to him, his dog or something.
His beer's resting on the cash. Yeah.
Yeah, living the good life, watching Seinfeld.
And much like the last suspect, he never confirmed or denied that he was Dan Cooper. So he
Right.
seems like a perfect match, but he doesn't at all fit the description of Cooper.
Okay.
So the flight attendant said he looks nothing like him, and plus, it might just be that McCoy was copying the hijacking because he like read it
Yeah.
in the newspaper. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
that worked for him, worked for me.
Yeah, because he asked for way less as well. Because he only asked for, like, 5 grand.
500,000, sorry.
Oh, sorry, 500,000.
So he upped it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now the next suspect is Lynn Doyle Cooper.
Lynn Doyle.
Lynn Doyle.
Is that one name or 2?
Two. Lynn
Lynn
Doyle Cooper.
Doyle. Alright.
Lynn.
Okay.
So his family have made claims to the press that they recall him planning something suspicious before Thanksgiving 1971, and that on Thanksgiving morning, so this is a quote from his family, who were
Brilliant.
sort of pushing him under the bus here. Lynn returned home bloody and bruised, claiming he had been involved in a car accident. He had like a tree branch stuck in
Yeah.
him.
He's like, "Oh, don't worry about it, mum." She's like, "Where have you been? You almost missed dinner." He's like, I don't. I had to do some stuff. It's fine."
Yeah. Um, Dinner's on me tonight.
Why have you got a front parachute on?
So that's literally all it was. It was just a family were like, we think it's our dad.
Right. Okay.
But just because he seemed suspicious on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but okay. I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of people did a lot of things on Thanksgiving. America's a big place. There's a lot of people in the world.
He might have just been trying to get him a turkey.
Maybe he's just like, yeah, maybe he just went and chased a turkey around for a bit.
And like
Then,
to surprise his family. He's like, oh, they're gonna love it.
yeah. But then he
Yeah.
came back without the turkey because he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And instead of just facing the disappointment and them knowing, he just lied.
Yeah. And then he's got called a hijacker.
Yeah, hijacker. Which, depending on how he sees the world, that might be better. Because he might not. He clearly didn't want them to be that sad about
Yeah.
turkey. So
So finally, there's William Smith, who became a suspect in 2018. He was a
recent.
military. I know. He was a military veteran, was 43 years old when the hijacking took place,
Mm,
and matches the drawings of Dan Cooper quite well. In 1970, a year before the hijacking, he lost his job at a railroad and filed for bankruptcy. However, William lived on the other side of the country, so the journey for the hijacking would have been pretty out the way for him.
okay.
And there's no other evidence past that.
Oh.
Um,
Oh,
yeah,
it was looking good
it
until.
was looking good.
Mm,
Oh, there was a thing where on Dan Cooper's tie that was found on the plane, he had like some weird metal on the tie,
right.
and it was sort of like it could have been from this railroad job
Okay.
this guy had because it was like a type of metal you wouldn't find like usually on a person.
But would he wear a tie to a railway job?
That as well.
Yeah.
And so there are a ton more suspects, but these are the ones that sort of stood out as like at least something to them sort of
Right.
sounds about right. Uh,
So we still don't know.
in 2016, the case was officially closed by the FBI as unsolved, and that's everything we know. And
About
so
this
the big
random
yeah,
hijacking of a plane.
this is the only I think it is the only successful hijacking of a plane
Oh,
where the
ever?
guy like got away with it with the
Wow.
money. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why it's like a big deal. So it's up to us to figure out what happened to Dan Cooper.
Okay. So I like to think that um it was none of those guys. And it was just
Okay.
some guy and he was a bit mad.
All right.
I think he probably died.
You think you just splat?
Or he did it, landed, dropped the money, like, on
Mm,
the way down, lost it,
yeah.
and was like, "Oh, well, I guess I'll just go back to everyday life," and did that
And
until he
then me,
died.
he just blended right in.
Yeah.
Like everything points to that he wouldn't have made it because the jump was just too difficult.
Mm.
But it's the money which sort of throws everything for a loop because it was just found on a beach neatly together.
Yeah, but, I mean, someone could have say he fell and died in the woods, someone could have found the money in the woods, and then it could be a whole other story where that person owes money to, like, a mob boss, so he hides it in the sand or something.
Oh,
You never know.
you never know.
America's a big place.
It is. You're not wrong. I think it's the guy who wanted to get something for his family.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't, but I'm
You
just
want to.
I want to believe it's him because I
Yeah.
just like the idea that he landed like maybe for a day, walked through the forest, and then
That's
finally made it home with like a big rucksack full of summing
mm.
covered in mud, like hair's all bushy.
Yeah, and they were like, "Where have you been?" You're like, "You've been dragged through a bush." I was like, "Tut, tell me about it." I don't know. It's silly, isn't it? It's like it's that thing with the Zodiac thing. It's just not as bad because obviously he didn't kill,
He didn't
a
murder
ton of
everyone.
people. But it's just it's so funny that they don't find out who it is, and it's so annoying for us.
I mean, the search was like pretty extensive,
Yeah.
so to not find a body, I mean, it's not completely unbelievable because it's a giant forest in
Mm,
mountains, so, you can just miss a spot.
sure. Yeah.
But I really like to think he made it.
I hope he did because he sounds like a bit of an idiot. And
Or a
maybe he's
genius.
just yeah, maybe he's a genius. And
He
I'm gonna guess he was lonely because of the of the stewardesses.
just sitting by him.
Yeah, just he just wants to chat with him and someone to talk to.
I
Um,
mean, I'd like to think you wouldn't do that with a wife. Just like, "I'm off. You
come and
need
sit
that
next to
money?" Oh,
me. um, it's also silly that he didn't know that like the plane can't take off with the like side stairs down. Like
yeah.
that's just common sense, isn't it?
I mean, he definitely want a pilot.
Yeah, but he was in the military, maybe.
It seems like he probably was. I mean, in the early 70s, if he was, like, 20 when he was in the
Yeah,
40s or something, no,
yeah.
50s. But yeah,
I don't know.
I think he lived a happy life, a rich man in the forest,
And he died
and then he died.
in the forest. Well, so like he landed there.
Mhm.
Oh, have you seen? You haven't seen Fargo the movie, have you?
I haven't.
So my theory now, my new
Mm.
theory, borrowing from Fargo, is that he dropped the money,
Mhm.
died, or landed, and just went home and lived a life. And someone else came and found the money, and it was like a miracle because they needed the money and they were just walking in the woods because they were homeless or somewhere, and they just found this massive amount of money, and now it's like Richard Branson, and that's how he started his company.
Oh, yeah, because only 5,000 was found, meaning there's another 100,000
Yeah.
and something left for him. Yeah,
That was all put into stock, mate. And now look at Virgin,
and
Virgin
look at
Media.
him. Or it was Jeff
Oh yeah, yeah, it could be him.
Bezos, however you say it.
Bezzy.
Bezzy. It's all Bez.
Or it was Elon. I wouldn't be
I'd
surprised
I'd
if
buy
Elon
that.
was walking around the woods in the
Yeah.
70s.
But there you go. That's just like in terms of a sort of down to earth
Mm.
modern mystery, that's a pretty popular one, especially on the FBI's website.
Yeah, it's silly. So on this FBI website, do they have more things?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. So here's a thought.
Mm.
Could we find like a really recent thing? And right, okay, this is like assuming at some time in the future we have an audience that's
Okay.
like that's like a
Won't
nice
actually stay
size.
with us.
Sure. Please stay, guys.
Please.
And and we can find a case that's like fresh, and
Mhm.
then we can actually all work together to try and help. How great would that be?
Ooh. And we'll be giving the FBI this, like, completely ridiculous theory.
We're like, it's the guy from the plane, don't you see? He's
We solved
back.
2 crimes at once.
You've been looking at it all wrong. That would be great.
That would be great.
Speaking of having a fan base,
Mhm.
we've got the Patreon, haven't we?
We have. So, I'll have it in the link in the description if anyone wants to help us with this podcast, because we wanna distribute it on, like, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all that.
Hmm.
But it costs a bit of money, and we're not making any of it.
And we don't just find it in the woods. So
We as much as we try
yeah,
every night.
every night I come in battered and bruised, and my flatmate thinks I've hijacked a plane, and it's a whole thing. But
So we have the lowest tier is just like whatever money, like the small amount of money, we'd appreciate it. We've got a middle tier which gets you a shout out at the end of this podcast.
ooh, a
So
shout out!
I know.
Imagine
Eh,
them. Imagine us saying their names
Oh, it'd be a privilege.
with our silky smooth voices.
Yes.
Yes.
And then the highest one is you get a shout out plus a personal video message from us.
Ah, what
So
a dream.
we'll record something for you. And it'd be like the website of all the celebrities where you can pay them to
Oh, cameo.
they can give you a private message. We'll do that for you.
We'll do you a cameo. Goodness.
But yes,
Yeah, it would help out the podcast and do good things.
yeah.
We need to solve some mysteries.
I mean, we've solved all of them so far.
We've
But
done like 6 mysteries right now, so
yeah,
we've done the world a favor.
all for free.
All for free. Working from home.
All right.
You sound tired.
I am just so tired from solving them.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right.
Goodbye,
We'll get
everyone.
on due course.
Just get out of here. Goodbye. See ya.
Bye.